bit. So at first I was gonna do this week as only like expectations versus reality for grit, but I realized that there's both sides, because when your expectations does not match your reality, that's when you actually like learn something. And I actually had a list of key lessons and takeaways, so I figured that for this video I'm gonna go through both, and then if somehow there's more lessons and takeaways along the way when I finish this quarter, I can always do another one. So today is going to be like expectations versus reality, and also the key takeaways I had from being a peer coach. Okay, so I have like 5 main expectations that I picked out because I think okay, disclaimer though, everybody has different expectations versus reality. These are just mine and based on my personality and everything. So just jump into it. Number 1 for me would be my greatest fear actually going in is not knowing what to say when something's very hard and upsetting. For example, in my head I was like, look, if some students come in and say that they're really depressed or everything's going wrong in their life, I don't know what to say. And I'm also afraid of saying the wrong thing. For example, being like, it's okay. Another main fear that I had was like not knowing how to manage session flow. Like it's like structured but not structured. You meet students like this and you sit down and you're like, hey, how's your week been, and everything. But in the end, it's like both sides kind of engaging with each other, and as a coach, your role is also to kind of time manage and facilitate when people don't talk. So just to give you an image, so you're listening to students, keeping time. When there's something to say something difficult, you also think about how to respond in a like empathetic way, and also thinking about time. So it's like very overwhelming at first, I think. Especially like I've had one student who in the beginning really had this body language where she would just like lean away from me when we're talking about something, and that really was hard for me because I'm like, does she hate me? Like, what is going on? So I know that kind of deviates away from session flow a bit, but it's basically session flow, I mean like what to expect in each session, which is really difficult because every student is different. So in the end, it's like you just come in with kind of an open mind and the idea that they can come as they are, and you have the tools and the ability to be with them wherever they are at. Okay, number 3. So we mentioned session flow and knowing what to say. I think number 3 is definitely time commitment and burnout. So if you know me, I feel like I'm someone who's really like time poor. So I like to get into a lot of things and take responsibility so that I learn from them. But that means that there's a lot of things that I have to think about and worry about on top of school, which grit is a 10-hour job per week. 5-hour meeting students, the other 5 it's like emailing them back and doing meetings and everything. So it was quite daunting for me actually to come into this job, because I was afraid that you know, I would be burning out, and since it's such a face-to-face job, you can't just cancel, so it's literally a commitment. Okay. Okay, so my 4th fear of going into grit is actually managing difficult situations. So when people have like depression, like toxic relationships, I'm just like afraid of, I guess, not approaching it in a sensitive way enough. And I'm also afraid of the weight that it brings on me, because I'm someone who cares a lot. So when I do hear that, it's like I bring it home with me, and I know that that's not a healthy way to manage emotions, and it can affect other areas of my life, such as my ability to feel joy, to concentrate on school. So that really scared me, because it's like you're going into the unknown. And number 5, it's I expect to go in and be inspired, because this is the reason I even do grit in the first place. I wanted to learn about personal growth and everything. So the reality, what is it like? Knowing what to say, I already talked about. It's about just, you know, asking and knowledge. Session flow, Session flow, it suddenly became the last thing on my mind. I think once you actually meet the person and you engage with their stories and who they are, it's like you can let it flow a bit. And what I've been doing is just casually just looking down at like my watch, and so far I think mentally I've been doing well at keeping time. Everyone seems to be wanting to use their entire session up this quarter, so it's been an hour per person. And other than that, like, I think there's been times when I think that there's been a lot of sharing from their side, and I usually try to ask questions to slow down the pace and also make sure we cover things. So session flow is quite natural as long as you listen and react. Number 3, time commitment and workload. That is hard, and it is kind of what I expected, but a little less, I think, because I learned to kind of listen to my body more. So I did say no to more things because of grit, because I'm tired, and there has been times when I brought stories home and I couldn't do anything, but that does mean that I react and did go and ask for help. So in terms of that, it is true, you do need to manage it well, and it is a 10-hour commitment. You don't always feel like I don't always feel like going to session. Sometimes I'm like, it's the morning, like I could be sleeping in, but I do get paid, and once I get there the feeling disappears because I'm engaged with the student. Just wanted to be honest and put it out there that it's not always like personal growth, let's go. It's a lot of motivating yourself as well. Number 4, managing difficult situations. That is difficult. So far I didn't have that many cases, but the cases that I do have that are more on the difficult side, again, I took it home, and I think I realized that it was difficult when I took it home. So it's all about reaching for help, because as I told you last week, it's not our job to be a therapist or to even deal with that kind of issue. So our job is to connect them with resources. So that's exactly what I did. I just offered it up and the student took it. Okay. And lastly, inspired. Yes, and yes. Definitely inspired by students and how much they care about themselves and how much they do for themselves, but also inspired by how this job consistently reminds me that you're never like comfortable, or sometimes you can just not be motivated to do something, but if you just get yourself out there, sometimes it's okay. And I think the one main tagline of Grit is that it's okay not to be okay, and that definitely inspired me a lot. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to sign off because I do have a lot of work to do, and I realize that it's not that easy filming. Like, I wanted to do 2 things this week. I think I'm just gonna reduce my expectation to the reality that I have and do 1. And next week will be about the key lessons and takeaways I got from Grit. That one I'll make happen. Okay, I'm gonna go.